The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 2024 Spring Edition.
Yay, spring!
No, it's not really. I just wanted to say that to get you excited. Still pre-spring, really.
Okay.
That's okay. Is it? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, read your thing. Go ahead.
It's the edition of The Local Show either way. I'm your host, Tom Soccocio Jr., along with my friend and co-host, Steve Roberts. The Local Show features conversations about local businesses. We talk to the business owners. We even talk to some CEOs, CFOs, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, business advocates, and other business-friendly organizations. We learn how they got into business and why they do business right here in Syracuse, New York, and where their businesses might be going in the future. You're going to hear all about their successes and challenges, opportunities, marketing, and advertising. We broadcast from the Zoey Advertising Studios, sponsored by Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and YouTube. And if you want to be a sponsor this year, no check is too big. No client is too big.
So no fee is too small. I think
no fee is too big. Yes, please join us and send an email off to Steve@Zoey Advertising. How are you?
That's because I reply to my email, Tom.
That's right. Sure.
Tom, you sent me emails. Yours like return receipt requested. Like, is it that serious?
He has people who respond.
I have people.
So I heard you went and saw some dirty water this weekend.
Yes. Well, we went to, the water wasn't that dirty in Boston. There weren't any fish there. I tried a little because I travel with my pole.
Sure.
So those early mornings, I wandered around and fished by some ships. I didn't even see like dead fish. So
that's a good sign.
No, there weren't a lot of dead
floating
small
on the
fish,
top.
minnows, nothing. But
how about those tea bags? Are they still there?
Yes, they are.
Okay, they're still floating.
They're floating. Yes, it's amazing what a mess they made out of that harbor. Yeah. But it was nice. So we were there with my brother and sister-in-law. We had a great time.
Oh, good for you. I like that you can travel at the drop of a hat.
And I went over some big bridges.
Oh,
I went on one bridge. I'm like, oh, Tom would love this one. Seriously, I was on a bridge. I'm like, no, he wouldn't like this bridge.
Yeah. Is there one main bridge to get into Boston?
Lots of scary bridges.
Because you're going back and forth.
And a tunnel, too. So
very nice.
Too. So you'd have hated it.
I love it. All right. That's good stuff. We've got a great show for you all packed up. In fact, Jody Frawley is going to stop by. She's the performance consultant and trainer at Dale Carnegie. And then we're going to talk with Randy King, director of Drumlins Country Club. Aaron Bates stops by, deputy director of McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center. John Kupperman, owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. Joe Scripa is the owner of the Scripa Group Real Estate and Property Management. Cheryl Silvestrini. You like that?
Yeah, well, that's very good. Or maybe it wasn't.
Administrator at Bluefield Manor. She'll stop by and talk about what Bluefield Manor is. And then John Tamino, co-founder of In My Father's Kitchen, is bringing along Dr. David Lehman, who is from House Calls for the Homeless. So we'll see what their relationship is and what they're doing over there. And then Eric Schumacher is in commercial sales, and he's an estimator at Onondaga Flooring. All on the Local Show today. Stick around. Gonna be riveting. So, Jody Frawley, I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. How you been?
Very good. You haven't aged at all. That's a good sign.
You're making points already, Tom.
Good genes. Well, Jody, you've been in the business community here for a long time, in sales capacities and management and all that. Why don't you give people a brief history? 5 seconds or so. No, you can take longer than that.
Sure. So I was very blessed to have a 30-plus career in marketing.
Wow.
Everything from starting in radio to newspaper to digital marketing for 23 years.
Good golly.
And it was wonderful. Every place I was at, it was terrific. And last October, so 5 months now, is when I took the big dive into Dale Carnegie of Central New York.
And no offense to anybody, I didn't even know Dale Carnegie was still chugging along.
Yeah, 111 years.
Were organization is. He's not probably.
He is not. He does still have family members involved, though.
Yeah,
he
really?
does. They just recently revised the How to Win Friends and Influence People book.
Yeah.
His I think it's his granddaughter.
That was his book. That's right. I read that. Back when I thought I had hope. Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
It's a book full of optimism, which explains why you didn't remember it.
Yeah. See, but I tried. I did give the optimism a try.
We can always help you, Tom.
Tom's version was
you're not a lost cause.
Good.
Never.
His version was how to make friends and criticize people. That one didn't make it to the top.
Interesting. That is the number one principle. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain.
Oh,
that is Dale Carnegie's number one principle.
Jeez, I wish I could do that. I'd like to be able to do that. So what got you interested in that? Is it just an evolution of your career?
It really is. So 5 years ago, I took the program myself.
Okay.
And I loved it so much, I decided to become a certified Dale Carnegie trainer.
Right.
So I became a trainer about 3 years ago, right in the middle of COVID.
There you go.
Great time to try and lift people up, right?
Absolutely. And then, like I said, this past summer, my 3 years, it was time to recertify. Mm-hmm. So I went through the recertification process, and as we went through that, they said to me, well, we just bought that. This is a new franchise owner for Central New York.
Okay.
It's the Escher family, Herb and Doug Escher, who have been in Rochester for years. And they recently purchased Buffalo, Rochester, Central New York, Long Island, and Boston. So now their franchise is much larger. And they said, we really need somebody for Central New York. And I said, well, gosh, I love Dale Carnegie. And it seemed like such a natural progression because the latter part of my marketing career, I was really specializing in recruitment marketing.
Okay.
So I would have conversations with HR directors and business owners about how to recruit quality employees. But then, I would be constantly filling the same positions. And I would think to myself, gee, what's wrong with the manager of that department that we keep advertising this position? And would try to have some conversations. Mm-hmm. Now I get to step over the line and help those organizations get their employees engaged, help them be happier, help the organizations be more productive, have better revenue growth, all the things that every company is looking for. So very natural.
Do you also work with individuals or is it just mostly companies?
So my focus really is working with companies.
Okay.
We are talking about bringing back what we call the public programs, where an individual could just come at a set time when we're starting a Dale Carnegie Skills for Success program, for example. Mm-hmm. That's how I went through the program. It's usually at nighttime.
Oh, okay.
It's an 8-week program that you come for 3.5 hours for 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. So we are talking about bringing some public programs back. They kind of fizzled during COVID.
Oh, right, of course.
And we really focus more on in-house Dale Carnegie programming, where we can really dive into the context of the company and say, be able to coach them to what they want to work on for this particular project they're working on or this initiative, and tie in their values and their mission as a company so that everybody really starts rowing in the same direction.
What do you help people do in a sentence or two? What happens if someone goes through the training?
It's transformational, Steve.
Okay.
And we coach to whatever they want to work on. So it is individualized. Many times, I'll start with the main, what we call the main Dale Carnegie program. The focus is really helping them to build confidence in themselves so they then can build stronger relationships, so interpersonal communication, those people skills that we need to be good managers, to be good colleagues to one another, and then communication, helping them be more clear and concise and inspiring and enthusiastic in their communication so people want to talk with them and listen to them. And listen is part of communication. I want to mention that. And then leadership qualities, really helping them. We all lead, whether we have the title behind our name or not. We have the ability to lead. So helping them build those leadership qualities to motivate people. And the last piece that it ties in so well is stress management and attitude. So those are what we call the 5 drivers for success.
So what you're saying is it's too late for Tom.
Yes, I'm done.
Never too late.
That ship has sailed.
Never too late.
But DaleCarnegie.com, and you can find the Syracuse location there.
I would Google search Dale Carnegie, Central New York.
There we go.
And that's how you would find us.
You can find it, and businesses, and it's positive stuff, and it's good stuff, Tom.
Very good. Well, it's great to reacquaint with you, Jody. Jody Frawley right there. And I would encourage anyone to call Jody. She's just a great person in general, so you will have fun with that. You have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
By.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Steve.
You got it. Randy King is coming up next, Steve. They're going to revitalize, breathe life into Drumlins Country Club. Maybe you could talk him into golfing over there.
Hey, there we go. I'll go first. You can play behind me, Tom.
Yes. Oh, I'm always behind you. All right. That's coming up next on The Local Show on 570 WSYR. Stick around.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We are back into it on The Local Show. Thank you for joining us. What a wonderful spring day it is here in Syracuse. Well, springish. There's always, remember, we can always look forward to a nice Mother's Day storm.
Snowstorm, you remember that? It's amazing how those stick around in our memories, right?
I did something that you love to do. And that
Wait a minute, fix something?
Go to the dentist.
Oh, it's the worst thing ever.
I had a thorough cleaning and enjoyed it. Quite enjoyed it. It's time to rest.
How did that happen?
Well, because you can lay back and, it's the one time where I don't have to respond to anybody. Nobody expects much of you when your mouth is open and you're drooling.
Good point.
But the hygienist, we had started talking before she went at my teeth. And I said, geez, you remember that storm we had on Mother's Day? And she said, I can't forget it because it was my wedding reception day.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
So they were ready to go on their honeymoon, and there was snow all over the ground.
Make a memory.
Yeah. Isn't that something? So we have that to look forward to.
Great.
Great. Yeah, good stuff.
Let's go
then you can go fishing.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's get over this, and maybe I can even go golfing, Tom.
Yeah, let's take a trip into the Wayback Machine and remember when you used to golf at Drumlins, because we have the new director of Drumlins Country Club right here. His name is Randy King. How are you there, Randy?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Just enjoying, like you said, the spring weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can never tell when we're going to get that snow, though. So
it's in your heart that it's spring.
It really is.
So, Randy, are you from Syracuse originally?
I am. So I was born and raised right in Janesville, New York.
Oh, great.
I'm a JD alum. So I graduated in 98. Kind of stuck around here for a few years. Went to college at Lemoyne. Then transferred to Towson University.
Where's that?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
Yep. Then came back for a couple of years and decided that I needed to get out of here. I moved to Fort Lauderdale for about 10 years.
That's nice.
Yeah. Ran a nice restaurant, nightclub down there. And then I ventured out to Highlands Ranch, Colorado, where I was for about 7 years. And then this job opportunity opened up. And here we are 2 years later.
So you're no stranger, yeah.
No stranger, but when I first moved home, it kind of felt like a honeymoon. It felt very new, because when any other time when I'd come home, it's for a week, 10 days. Mm-hmm. You see your friends, you see your family, and then, you scoot right on out of here.
Right.
But this time it was more real, more some length to it.
Steve and I are, really long time. I want to say we were in the entertainment world. He was a photographer back in the days of weddings back in the 80s, right? And I was a disc jockey, so, and a musician. So we've seen, a lot of these restaurants come and go. And, of course, we remember the golden years of Drumlins Country Club. So give us just a kind of a brief history. What happened way back in the 80s and then bring us up to current?
Yeah, so I'm not really sure what happened in the 80s because I was an 80s baby. So I'm a little bit younger than that. You should tell me exactly.
So Leanne was running stuff. Leanne did a great job. Yeah. Angie was the lady that
she was.
I've heard of Angie.
Yeah. She'd keep you in line, and you guys did an amazing job on parties. It was delightful.
So I've heard that. And the great thing is we just did a renovation. So I think our banquet space hadn't been remodeled since Angie's days.
Oh, my goodness.
So I have a lot of, older members that have been there for 30, 40 years.
Wow.
Right. And they are familiar with exactly what you guys are talking about. And Andy even telling me that the space, like they had their wedding there.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, so go think about
was
how
it always owned by the university back then?
No, so they owned, in the 70s.
It was, okay.
Yeah, so I don't think it was really known until of real recent, recent times now that, you know, Syracuse owned and operated. But yeah, going back to the whole banquet space, we've just remodeled it just in time for Jimmy Boeheim's day. So we had the honor of hosting his dinner there.
So when you say you just remodeled it, I was there in Christmas time. Is it since Christmas?
Since Christmas.
Oh,
since
goodness.
I think Jim Boeheim's day was February 24th, I believe.
Went to town.
So we went to town. Yeah, we spent some good money in there from audio, video, the chandeliers, all the lighting.
Bathrooms?
Bathrooms are freshly painted and remodeled. Everything is everything except for the floor.
Okay.
We kind of ran out of time. Didn't have enough time to get that done before Jimmy B's day.
Yeah, right.
But the flooring will be next winter.
So the tennis club, the golf club, all those things, the swimming pool, all those things are rocking and rolling.
There's a swimming pool there?
Rocking and rolling. We do have a swimming pool. A lot of people forget that we have swimming. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and we do have a very good member base. So it's that's excelling. I'm not ready for that yet because that tells me it's Memorial Day weekend. But we've started to think about it. It's coming.
It's outdoors.
It's an outdoor pool.
Oh, okay, I was thinking it was indoors.
But a lot of people forget that we do tennis too. Like we actually host women's tennis, and they just had a huge win last weekend against number 8 NC State.
No kidding.
So so we've got all things rocking and rolling. Golf, especially, once the weather and the sun comes out, everybody really just starts to pile in.
Long-term members. You said there's been people. So why do they stick around? Because there's certainly a lot of options.
I think they stick around because we're unlike other country clubs. We have 2 golf courses. One is open to the public. One is private. And we also have a restaurant that's open to the public. So it's kind of, your Cheers in the neighborhood, and everybody likes to come in, and we have regulars that seem like they're members. They're there, 3-4 times a week, sometimes too often, but but money's green, so we'll take it. But yeah, it's different. It's different. It's not like a typical country club. I like to call it a community club.
Talk about the 2 different spaces. So you have the one space that I dread when somebody says you're in the upstairs room and I have to bring my equipment.
I like that
the university room.
Oh my goodness.
I like that. Well,
there's that.
Well, you have to drag stuff.
Well, yeah. If I
just go up and say, "Hey, look at the view."
Well, there is an elevator.
Is there really?
Yes.
See, nobody's ever told me that.
They're just torturing you, man.
You carry that up.
So actually, that space, it's funny you brought it up because this year we're going to be utilizing it a little bit more for the deck. So if you notice, we're going to do Drumlins deck days. Which will be one Saturday of the month starting in May. Hopefully through to October, we'll see. We could definitely get through to September.
Yeah.
But those dates will be listed on the website that you guys can check out.
Nice.
So we're going to have a live DJ and kind of bring couches and just a better feel up there for like a day party.
Right.
Yeah, so it's never been used for that. And that was one of the first things, like when I did my initial walkthrough.
Yep.
They're like, oh, it's only for event space. And I was like, well, we're missing something.
Sure,
here.
yeah.
This is a deck overseeing. You can see the first and 10 tee boxes so you can watch guys golf.
Yeah.
You kind of haggle people a little bit,
What is the difference between the 2 courses? Maybe
everything.
Steve.
There's certainly, he's not lying with that. One is public, one is private. One certainly gets a lot more attention than the other.
Yeah.
But that is something that we're looking to get into more, is investing more money into that public side.
With the water up there, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a little farmland up there, but it's certainly still of high quality for a public course.
The view is spectacular.
Yeah, right.
Can't beat it.
And then you got this at the 9th hole. What's the one off the hill where
that's 18?
18.
That's
where
18.
Go too long, you hit the pool. Go up short, you don't make it. It dribbles down the hill. Yeah. It's fun. It's
fun. It is fun. But it certainly does need some love, and we're gonna give it to
the private side.
Yeah.
Top notch.
And the greens.
And you have to have a membership.
You have to have a membership.
So how do people get involved with the?
So it's through me.
Okay.
You would look me up. Okay. It's rking@drumlins.com is my email if anybody's interested in membership. I also have an assistant, Tim Sheridan, that helps me with membership. Yeah. So
I know that name.
Go back to the greens. They're lovely. Your greens. I don't know if you have the same greenkeeper there. I don't know if it's different.
We have Pete McFarland. He's been there for about 15 years now. He's a magician out there.
They have it dialed in, and there's a space between interesting and annoying. Yeah. And some greenskeepers, they'll put the hole in an annoying place. Yeah. You guys seem to have it figured out, and it's nice. It really
certainly
is nice.
Depends on Pete's morning and how it's going, where those pin placements are going to be. Yeah. You got to be nice to Pete. You got to be nice to Pete, or he's going to certainly put that in an area that you don't want to be.
But one of the nicest courses, nice climate. Now the restaurant's rolling.
Restaurant is rolling. Changes there years ago. Bistro 1926 is rolling. We just opened up an ice cream shop last summer.
Wonderful.
Q Scoops. So, we're rocking on all cylinders. We really are.
And then people they still get into for events? I mean, can it still have
events. Okay, absolutely. Gotcha. You can email me directly or check right on the website for events.
Drumlins, Syracuse, drumlins.syracuse.edu.
You got it.
And they get there 446-4555. Give a shout. Check it out. 446-4555. Drumlins.
Great to have you back in town, Randy, and we look forward to great things from Drumlins.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Aaron Bates is coming up next, Deputy Director of McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center, right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York, The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back again, folks, and so happy to have you along. It's
You're not happy. You're never happy.
Zing with the strings of my heart.
You're happy?
Yeah, sure.
Look at you.
Well, I'm a little disappointed.
Because
I can be happy, but I can be disappointed. Well, Steve, you always hurt the ones you love.
Where's this going? Here we go.
And, I ran into a mutual friend of ours who said, yeah, Tom, we were just talking about you, Steve and I. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, he was on my show. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, he was cheating on me. Oh. You were on Perry Now's show.
It's true.
And you never even said anything to me.
Wow, it's true. It's true.
That's something.
Perry said, hey, you want to chat? And I said, sure. And I didn't think I needed to get permission from you, Tom.
Wow. How would you feel if I started doing the home repair workshop?
I'd say go for it.
Yeah.
I'll call them now.
You would not. You'd be like, what's Tom doing without me? Oh, golly, I felt so hurt.
Good.
But it's
in that case, great.
But it's Perry, and I'm sure you had fun with it.
I did. Gotta love Perry. Gotta love Perry.
Well, I said, Steve does love to golf, and if there's a chance you could talk golf, that would be
and we did.
Probably fun.
And we did.
Good. Well, talk about Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. That's another fun thing.
Update your will, update your trust.
Yeah.
370-9977. That didn't rhyme. I thought maybe it would.
No.
SafeHarborWillsandTrust.com. John and the team over there. Holy smokes. A lot of people are doing it. They just did some workshops. If you haven't done it, do it. You've heard about it, and you've been putting it off, and they know what they're doing. Protect your home and life savings, 370-9977, SafeHarborWillsandTrust.com. Tom?
Very good. See, you're getting better at that. Perry's going to watch you on all the time, to do all the live
from
reads.
The best.
Sure. Okay, it's our pleasure to bring on Erin Bates. She's the Deputy Director of McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center. How are you there, Erin?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you. No relation to Kathy Bates, huh?
No.
Okay. Be nice if
what that laugh, maybe. I don't know.
It would be kind of cool, I think, but no relation.
So, Erin, are you a Syracuse native? Were you from around here? You grew up here? Okay.
Born and raised.
Oh, what part of town?
Liverpool.
Okay. So you went to Liverpool High School?
I did.
All right.
Yeah.
And then where did you go? Did you go to college?
I did. I went to Lemoyne.
Very nice.
Smile when you say that.
I'm still paying off student loans.
Oh, golly. Isn't that something?
I loved it. It was great. But
so when did you get out of there?
2010.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Did you participate in Dolphy Day?
Of course I did.
Yeah, okay.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a dolphin that didn't participate in that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what brought you over to the McMahon Ryan organization?
Well, so when I graduated college, I started working in like the social worky type field. Okay. I started out with families that were in need of some early literacy skills for their children, doing home visits, things like that, working with teen parents. From there, I went on to home finding for a foster care agency. And then a former coworker of mine reached out to me when McMahon Ryan had a spot open for an advocate for a specialized program dealing with anti-trafficking.
Oh, wow.
And so they thought I would be a good fit and reached out to me about that. And it seemed like something I had some interest in. So I went, and I have been there ever since.
How long ago was that?
2013. So I've been there for 10 years.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
I found my niche.
Yeah. Is it, when somebody gets into your line of work, is it more heartfelt than cerebral? Is it,
It has to be.
Yeah.
100%. If you don't have the passion for it, I think you'll tend to see a little bit of burnout with it. We deal with really serious things on a day-to-day basis, so it can be really overwhelming sometimes.
Well, it's a good thing you don't have student loans.
That's
right. Sorry.
It's a big organization. How many people are in the organization here locally?
Oh, gosh. So our staff, I think we've upped to about 30.
Oh, my goodness.
And then in our building, because we're co-located with other disciplines to kind of make our model work, which I can talk about if you guys want to hear that.
Yes, I'd like to hear that. Sure.
I think we've got about 60 or 65 people total in the building.
Okay. So tell us what the organization's mission is and how you tie it all together with these partners.
So our mission is really to educate and make people aware of child abuse, let them know that it's occurring here in our community, and that there are resources out there to help individuals who experience that. Obviously, children are growing up all around us all the time. So our agency really focuses on both preventive and reactive resources, right? So you mentioned, Lauren. She's our director of outreach. So she does a great job with her team going into the local schools and doing prevention education. And then obviously with the Child Advocacy Center, those are reactive services to allegations.
I see. But, it's got to be tough because now I grew up in an Italian household. Most people might say that, abuse was, you would think that it was abuse. There was a lot of yelling and all that, but it was out of love. So where do things cross the line? How do you tell, and how does a kid come forward and say, hey, look, I don't think this is right. I'm getting this from my parents or an uncle or somebody else.
And not just have it because mom or dad said no.
Just because it's discipline. Yeah.
Well, there's a difference between discipline and abuse, obviously. But so for us, that's really one of the reasons that we do the prevention piece is so we're educating children on what's okay and what's not, and that it's okay if they're not feeling safe to tell somebody. Because unfortunately, we know that a lot of child victims of sexual and severe physical abuse, there's a sense of shame or they've been told things to keep them quiet. So we want to make sure that they know that it's okay for them to tell a safe adult and let somebody know that something's not quite right at home or elsewhere. So we kind of teach that a little bit to them. And then we educate the community on what to look for as well. If you have a child that's showing up to school with unexplained bruises or injury, they don't really have a story as to why that injury occurred, I always tell people it's best to call it in to the state central register. They are the experts on what they can and can't take as far as a report. So if you have suspicions, rather not allegations, suspicions of something occurring, it's always better to call it in and talk that through with a professional and see if they'll take that report. And that would open up an investigation into those allegations.
Where someone might say, I don't want to start trouble. It's probably okay. I'm not sure. They don't want to feel like they're a bad person in doing that. But what you're saying is better safe than sorry, for the lack of a platitude. That's kind of what you're saying. Right.
And quite honestly, I don't think a lot of people realize that Child Protective is not out there to remove children, right, from their home. The ultimate goal of Child Protective is to ensure safety of a child and that they're being taken care of appropriately. And they want family reunification. It's not to take children away. And to boot, you can make a report to Child Protective anonymously. So you don't have to tell them where you're calling from. Another thing that's important to remember with that is that there are certain individuals that are mandated reporters, like school officials, social workers, doctors, things of that nature.
My father's aunt was in Child Protective Services, and it was heart-wrenching when she would talk about some of the things that went on the West Side and, just abandoned parents. People, she told a story one time where they tied the children to chairs to eat breakfast and then left and went and did whatever they were doing, and somebody finally called because people were crying.
My wife and I were foster parents, so we understand some of the things and understand some of the things that are, it's heart-wrenching. How can the community get involved?
So obviously I have a whole list in front of me. The listeners can't see it, but I've got my list to make sure I hit all my points. April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. We rely a lot on volunteers for a lot of our events that go on in April, as well as for a number of different things at the center. We can't do it all ourselves. So we have our advocates and our therapists and our outreach team and all the wonderful people there. But there's a lot of behind the scenes things. Outreach needs packets to be put together for the students in schools. I mean, they see over 22,000 children each year. Yeah. Right. They're in almost 70 schools in the district, so they're busy. And then we always need help with the front desk coverage. We're a crisis-oriented agency, so we don't always have coverage for the front desk.
Right.
If our receptionist needs to call out or use time, so that can be difficult. And then aside from that, we also have what's called Holiday Angels that we do every year, and we rely a lot on volunteers for that. We have the whole building put in families' information that need extra help during the holidays, and we get sponsors, donors that kind of give to those families, and then we need all those gifts wrapped and taken care of.
And McMahonRyan.org is the place where it's all at. Is that correct?
McMahonRyan.org has all of our information on
Excellent.
events.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Erin Bates, for all you guys do. And we'd love to have you back on again, so
anytime.
we can talk more. Great. Well, have a good April, and I hope that everything goes well there and we get some volunteers for you. All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk with John Kupperman. He's the owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. Steve, stick around, and all of you out there, stick around right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Back into it and back up to it. It's The Local Show with Tom and Steve from Zoey Advertising, zoeyadvertising.com, and you can also see Zoey Advertising on YouTube. Go over to YouTube now and check out those YouTube videos.
Turn the show off.
Yes.
Turn off the radio and go to YouTube. Good idea, Tom.
You can listen and still be on your device. You don't know that because you're, not good with technology.
I'm great with technology. It's just technology is not great with me.
Yeah, what's your iPhone? iPhone 8?
You know what? It's paid for. I don't take that. I'm not the person that stands in line and waits for some upgrade. That's not me.
Goodness.
It's not me, Tom.
Yeah, I saw a South Park episode where they were trying to figure out what phone the person should have, and it didn't do anything. Like they couldn't find a phone, and it wouldn't take texts. It wouldn't have pictures. It wouldn't.
So I'm going to expose Phil Jakes Johnson over at Solvents and Petroleum, who still uses a flip phone. Yeah, and it's all part of his thing. He's like, I don't want to have to be in contact. See, if they look at me, and they see my flip phone, and that immediately proves I'm not quite sure what it proves.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But that's Phil.
Embrace technology.
He didn't embrace it. I think he's still running his 8-track player time.
And there's certain parts of AI that I think are handy too.
I can't even spell AI.
No, that's for sure. Hey, John Kupperman's a lot smarter than the two of us. He's the owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. How are you there, John?
Very fine, thanks.
John, you did something over the past week that I hate, and that is to travel. So you have no problem traveling.
Not too much, no.
Yeah, because you're just chill. I'm too uptight. So where'd you go and why'd you do it?
Well, this past weekend I was in Chicago for the International Housewares Show, where manufacturers from it's a big thing. It's literally an international show where the manufacturers come and they display their products. Right. Everything that I carry, but they also have pet care and personal care like hair dryers.
Right.
But I spent 3 days going through the buildings called McCormick Center, and I came back with a tremendous amount of new information.
So were you like a kid at the toy shop at Christmas, like, ooh, look at that.
Oh, that is fun for me.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. And I found some really, really cool stuff.
So, which in contrast to some of the big box stores here locally, and places where people might go for housewares instead of going to Smith, which they should always start at Smith.
Yes.
I endorse that highly. You are hand picking, curating, if you will, the proper products, things that'll last a long time.
Yep.
USA made, all that
things
kind of
that I find clever and useful.
Yeah. Okay.
I had two finds. One we were talking about a little bit ago.
Right.
One was an American manufacturer in Minnesota of bakeware. And a full line, cookie sheets, muffin pans, roasting pans, even American-made stock pots they had.
Are they stone by any chance, or no, like stone baking
No,
pans?
they're aluminum, but
I don't
either
like
plain aluminum or aluminum with they're
Good.
going away with the harmful chemical nonsticks. They're going with ceramic nonsticks.
I'm going to miss those.
Yeah, those chemicals that are terrible for you.
Steve's
and
had
the
a lot of
environment.
chemicals. You can tell by the way he talks.
And there was another one that was really clever. The Soda Stream type product where you make your own carbonation.
Right.
Well, this one has a blender attachment that is rechargeable. You can do 20 quarts of soda.
Oh, okay.
But the cool thing is, can you imagine this at a tailgate party? You can actually make seltzer mixed drinks.
Yeah, and put berries and stuff in it.
Put berries in them, put your booze in it.
Yeah.
And then have a seltzer drink. Yeah. And the thing retails for about $40.
Oh, that's
and I was
have one in the office.
I said, I'll take 20. Literally, right then and there, I was like.
And I remember a long time ago in one of the interviews, you said, I don't want to sell stuff that isn't the highest quality. If we get something in and somebody brings it back, I'm going, okay, I'm not going to buy that again, or I'm going to look into it. So you sell the top shelf, the good stuff. Right. It doesn't mean it's crazy expensive, but you're not selling junk.
No. If I get more than one return on an item, I don't carry it any longer.
Are there certain items that you have to get that are not made in the USA that you go,
Sadly, it's consumer electrics.
I
can't find a toaster that's made in the U.S., for instance. Some commercial toasters are made in the U.S., but for the average homeowner, you're not going to spend $500 for a toaster.
Yeah.
That's just an impossibility still.
Are bread makers still a thing? Remember there was that craze for bread makers?
Yep. Not as much, but there's some very good ones out. There's a company called Zoey out of Japan that makes a phenomenal bread machine.
What is it again?
Zoey.
Well, I like that. Sounds fancy.
That's their thing. They also make wonderful rice cookers.
Oh, interesting.
So the Houseware show was not as large as it was, but I was able to actually spend really good quality time with the manufacturers. And I came back with, I was almost over limit with my bag, like 50 pounds worth of stuff.
Wait a minute, you take stuff with you?
Yeah.
Catalogs, I can't rely on them. We'll mail you a catalog. No, give it to me.
I thought you were like, ignore those knives. I'm in the business. I didn't know what you were
Really? Well, they were handing out sample knives, some of them. And I was like, no, I'm not going to take that one.
Incredible.
But I'm going to bring in 2 new knife lines. And
very nice.
One's German and one is Japanese. The German one is Messermeister. And
Wait. Is it the Ginzu?
No. It's a company called Global, which is very well known and very popular. So there's going to be, the next couple months, there's going to be a lot of new product on top of everything else that we've got.
And just to remind people, we talk about this about every time, you can sharpen dull knives.
Yes.
To a point, do they get to a point where you just can't sharpen them anymore?
Yes, they do, actually, because every time you sharpen a knife, you're taking off some metal. And over time, you're taking off enough metal that you're getting up into the meat of the knife. It gets too thick to put an edge on it. And but that could be 20 years. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. But at a certain point, then we'll tell them this knife has pretty much had it.
Do you have the magnetic type of sharpener?
Yeah.
Okay. My son says that's the way you got to do. I don't even understand what he's talking about. He saw it on TikTok. It's like it magnetizes to something.
Well, the sharpener you gave me, I actually paid for it, but the sharpener I purchased from you works great, and it's pull it through 2 or 3 times, it makes such a difference. I'll be doing something, I'll go zing zing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What he's talking about is the steel, and it's magnetized so that when you're honing your knife, the metal that's coming off sticks to the steel, and then you can wipe it off with a rag. Otherwise, those little particles of metal get on your counter.
Can I just give it a whack, or won't that do it, or no?
No. Could end up breaking the steel or hurting your counter. But
Steve, you shouldn't have knives or sharpeners or scissors.
So last time we were talking about a meat cutter, meat slicer, I determined it would be a bad idea for me to have a meat slicer.
Probably so.
I don't think, you guys were describing it, and I was just picturing my finger going sliding.
If people come in, missing a digit. Yeah.
That's not good. Was anybody at the show talking about coffee, or is that not a thing there?
There were so many coffee makers and machines there. It's like mind-blowing. You can't, same thing with knives. I mean, there had to be 50 manufacturers of knives. Wow. You got to pick and choose because there's no way.
Yeah.
But you try to find something that's a good match, good price, good quality.
But for being a coffee snob, which I don't mind calling you, and I know you wear that proudly, you don't think you have to have a $7,000 coffee maker to make a good cup of coffee?
No, you need a good coffee to make good coffee.
Where might they
Do
get
they sell
that?
coffee there? Were they like
but they're selling coffee makers.
Gotcha. Hey, really quickly, because we're running low on time, but can you give people a quick checklist of what they might need for Easter Sunday?
Oh, geez. Probably disposable containers. Okay. We also have the pans to make it with, and we've got everything that you could to serve with.
Okay.
But you're going to want a good thermometer, and you're going to want a good knife.
Excellent.
Awesome. And you can't miss it. It's right downtown. It says it on the building. No, that's not right.
Stop.
Wait a minute. Drive east 3 miles across from Texas Roadhouse and Erie Boulevard. Just think of that other place as a big billboard for you.
Yeah.
But 3 miles, there it is, and you're open
I wish I could get him to have an arrow pointing.
John, it's always a pleasure to have you. John Kupperman right there, owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. Have a great rest of the day, okay?
Thanks very much.
All right, kicking off hour number 2 of the local show, we're going to have a conversation with Joe Scripa. He's the owner of the Scripa Group Real Estate and Property Management. Cheryl Silvestrini is coming by. She's an administrator at Bluefield Manor. John Tamino, co-founder of In My Father's Kitchen, is bringing Dr. David Lehman from House Calls for the Homeless. And then Eric Schumacher wraps us up. He's a commercial salesperson and estimator at Onondaga Flooring. Stick around. Hour number 2 of the local show starts really soon.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back and welcome in. This is hour number 2 of the local show. Get ready for engaging interviews with Joe Scripa. He's the owner of the Scripa Group Real Estate and Property Management. Cheryl Silvestrini is the administrator at Bluefield Manor. John Tamino stops by. He's the co-founder of In My Father's Kitchen, and he's bringing Dr. David Lehman from House Calls for the Homeless. And then Eric Schumacher is commercial sales and an estimator at Onondaga Flooring. All in hour number 2 right here on the local show with Steve and Tom.
Hey.
That's fun stuff. Yeah, how you doing?
Hour number 2. I'm doing all right. I'm actually hungry. I'm always hungry.
Yeah.
Early, late. That whole incremental fasting thing, I don't know. I think it's probably more psychological. And then you go on vacation. We were in Boston last week, and what do? You eat all the time.
Yeah. Did you get any good fish, eating fish there, or did you not look for that?
Didn't really. I had some nice clam chowder.
Oh, very nice.
And I did have a good piece of salmon.
No scrod?
I had a salmon.
You didn't have a scrod?
What's the deal? I saw that.
Yeah, scrod's good stuff.
You know what? I don't know that I've ever had it.
Neither do I.
It was like salmon or scrod. Salmon just sounds better. Yes. Scrod sounds, I don't know.
Is scrod like a scavenger in a cod? Or?
I'm not sure.
Yes.
It could be.
Yeah.
That's good. A scrod, of course.
Yeah, so it was a no to the scrod.
Okay.
But we went to the Oyster House, some famous restaurant there. Blah, blah, blah. That was fine. This poor guy was coming up the stairs.
How do you know he was poor?
Because he fell.
Oh, that's terrible.
And he had a huge tray of food.
Did you bump into him?
And it went bum, bada, bum, bum, bum. It was the most disastrous fall I've ever seen. And the kid had clam chowder all over me. He was like horrified.
Oh my gosh!
And there was a plate of the people up near us, and it was probably 8 entrees. bump, bang, and he went by and he looked so miserable. He had clam chowder all over him. I saw him later. He's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. Everything's running behind." It's okay, dude. You know?
Right? Yeah, because you can relate because you're a klutz yourself. Yeah.
And the poor kid. So we didn't tip him.
Yeah. You fell. You're worthless.
He's a loser. We didn't tip him.
No, that's terrible.
True.
Here's a winner or a real wiener. Yeah. It's Joe Scripa, owner of the Scripa Group in real estate and property management. How are you there,
Great,
Joe?
Tom. How about yourself?
Well, I'm hanging in there. You and Kelly and the gang have been doing some really great stuff.
Yes, she's no longer home. She's at the office.
Yeah, she's there a lot, which is great. So now I have to cook.
Beyond sunset, till dark.
You guys are busy.
Last night, yeah.
And you know, you can tell people a little bit about what you do because I think, you know, we know that you do residential properties and we know that you do commercial properties, but you also do a lot of that management of the property.
And we are getting a little bit more specified in that, and we're kind of dividing roles in saying we have residential specialists, commercial specialists, and then a few of us that specialize in managing and overseeing and advising.
Speaking of roles, do you have any lobster rolls?
No lobster rolls.
Okay, no lobster rolls.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm still recovering from Boston. That sounds good.
But right now, we do find ourselves managing a lot of projects. Right now, we have a very interesting project that we're taking over a second time. We started in Lakeland, what we call the Lakeside Business Center. It's an incubator for small businesses. It used to be Corso's Cookies. So
I know where that is.
It's a food grade. Yes, it's right next to
Vineyard Church.
The Vineyard Church, that's right, in New York Bakery. We've turned that into an incubator for small food type businesses.
Gotcha.
So we've got a Crave Dessert Studio works out of there. There's a company called Saucy Confections. They make wine gummies.
Wine gummies?
Wine gummies. Then we have some clean room space because it was such a clean building.
Yeah.
And we have a fellow who makes electronic circuit boards. It's very clean.
Circuit boards, foods, and then
it's clean.
eggs.
It's clean. No, it's clean. The key is it's clean. We remanufactured this building. You look at it, the floors look like a gymnasium. You know, shiny.
Like the first day of school, when you went to go back.
Shiny.
Yeah. Well, so as far as the Scripa Group and your services,
so
you made that.
We made that building we took it from 15,000 square feet, one tenant, to 15,000 square feet, 6 tenants.
So you manage all the construction.
So we manage the construction, then we do the tenanting, and that particular property was purchased by somebody, and now they've invited us back to do the management again.
So if somebody had investment money, like say there were 3 or 4 owners of something and they wanted to go in on a building, they don't know anything about building stuff. They just want to own it. Then you come in and you do all that management.
That's right. We would be like somebody's has a financial advisor and tells you what stocks and what to invest in.
Okay, I gotcha.
If it were Steve, it would be billboards.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Now, I also noticed going down Route 81, this big horse farm thing over in Cicero.
You mean the one with that little sign on it?
The sign that takes up the whole side of the building.
I haven't gotten 2,000 calls on that yet. We're at about 1,999 phone calls so far.
What a nice piece of property.
It's an amazing piece of property. So if you go up 690 in Baldwinsville, now that we just went from Cicero, this property's in Cicero that you're talking about. Yes. Directly across from Drivers Village if you're going up 81.
Yeah.
If you're in Baldwinsville, you'll see townhomes being built along the side of the highway. As things develop here and we have this huge need for housing, it's an ideal site for the townhomes to be built.
Okay, right.
Great townhome community, just like you see down in Maryland and Pennsylvania and stuff like that as you're driving down 81.
Right, like the whole horse barn thing going on there.
I like the old horse barn, and hey, maybe, hopefully Cicero, the town of Cicero will approve something like that without much difficulty because, otherwise, it's going to be a horse farm or a pig farm or who knows what.
Yeah. Well, it could also be a nice hotel. It's not too far away from the
there is
airport.
A little bit of an access issue there, but housing is the best thing there because there's access. It is accessible for housing.
Yeah, the whole 481 they've been doing right at 81.
Yeah,
that's massive. They've 2 lanes off, 4 on, and it's.
I ended up in Cortland yesterday, so we're looking at a project.
Wrong turn from Cicero?
Yeah, I just got a little diverted. So we had clients in, looking at a project down in Cortland, and I ended up down there yesterday. But as I was heading south out of Syracuse, all the bridges are gone. They're all gone. 481, everything's gone.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
I hadn't been down there.
I love that.
It was amazing.
It is amazing. On 41 up there, they've taken out all those sound barrier walls.
Yeah. New ones are going to go in.
So they just going farther out, or they just replace? Is it in the same space?
I'm not sure, but I think that big, like up in Cicero, that huge embankment. I don't think that's a bridge. I think that's a sound barrier.
I think
that's a sound barrier.
They want it to be.
It's amazing.
But nonetheless, growth is happening. Now is an amazing time to be listing a house, and we have specialists that do just housing.
Right.
And then, as far as investments or managing commercial property, there's a few of us in the office that's all we specialize in.
And Micron's not happening, I heard.
Micron's definitely not happening. With National Grid announcing that they're going ahead and committing the money to running the wire. Which National Grid won't connect anything without having
all that.
Now the water, isn't there some big water line that's going to come down too? Wasn't that all part of the thing?
That was the property that somebody sold across the street. The water is going to come straight through. Yeah. Well, right across Cottonwood Road.
It's a lot of water. So if somebody had a commercial building, maybe it was second generation. Should they sit on it until it's worth more, or should they do something now,
I would start looking right now. Everybody thinks that there's going to be some billions. If a piece of land is worth $100,000 today, and let's say it's 1 acre and it's worth $100,000, it's not going to be worth $500,000 tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, it's a long, long time.
Right. I always see these properties where
today's the day to make the call.
Right.
Who would they call?
315-452-1200, the Scripa Group.
Yeah, call Joe Scripa and the whole gang over there. Get your properties in order, and there's going to be a lot happening.
And Kelly too.
Absolutely. And Kelly will relay the messages and talk and all
Kelly's
that.
Out hustling. She's out hustling too. Yeah.
Well, she better be. Gotta make a living. All right. Thank you so much, Joe, and have a great rest of the day. Okay.
Yes, you too.
All right. Cheryl Silvestrini is coming by next. She's an administrator at Bluefield Manor. We'll learn all about that company coming up on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
And we're back again. Thank you for joining us on The Local Show. It's Tom and Steve, otherwise known as the Steve Roberts Variety Show.
Oh, you're so full
specifically for old fogies.
Oh, my gosh.
Did you know
you and I?
Did you know where the term old fogey came from?
Yeah.
What's it from?
I don't know.
Yeah, of course. It's actually Scottish. They used to call a fogey somebody who was, it meant veteran, actually, an Army veteran. And then somehow it morphed into some slang, and you would be an old fogey.
Oh, look at that.
Really not as derogatory as you would think.
No.
I've been looking these terms up since I turned 60.
You apparently have a lot of free time on your hands. I don't know.
I want to know what to call myself, right?
Yeah, apparently you have a lot of free time on your hands. Too.
Yeah, well, not enough. So anyway, we want to have you over to the gym. I was wondering if I should get you a guest membership to bring you over there and have you start training.
Let me get back to you on that. Let me check my calendar. Hang on. You might get back to me the next leap year day, February 29th, 2028.
I got you a tank top, and I want you to wear the tank top that says "I'm with the buff guy" next to me.
I've lost some weight. I'm down to an A cup, Tom. Come on, be nice to me.
You got to firm yourself up there. Well, look, Cheryl Silvestrini is with us right now. She's an administrator at Bluefield Manor, of which I know nothing about. And that's what we're here to do on The Local Show, is to bring new businesses on and talk to people.
There we go.
So, Cheryl, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Are you Italian by marriage, or are you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm really a Miller.
Oh, geez.
How English of you.
You got really colorful with Silva.
So I have more in common with her than you do, Tom, for once.
Where are you from? Where do you hail from?
I'm from Buffalo.
Oh, are you really?
I am.
I shuffled off to Buffalo once.
Just once?
Once or twice, yeah.
So you were supposed to be Italian if you're
I
Buffalo.
was supposed to be, yes.
Yeah, and then Auburn's filled with Italians, right? Yeah, that's some. So Silvestrini, that's a really nice name. I don't know
Thank
any
you.
Out there, but anyway. So tell us about Bluefield Manor. Where did it come from? What is it?
Bluefield Manor, we're located in Auburn, the west end of Auburn, and we're a senior living community. We're independent living. You are old enough to be there now. It's 55 and older.
There you go. So it's out by Bass Pro, that side of town.
Yes.
There we go. We have to identify things by things we know like that. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And it started, we opened in the year 2000, so we've been around for a while, and it's basically senior living for like middle income people. It is independent living, so we don't provide any healthcare services or things like that.
I see, yeah.
But we do provide some supportive services for our residents, like dinner and laundry and housekeeping and transportation.
Yeah, I need someone to just listen to me, complain. Do you have somebody that could be like a companion?
Yeah, I do that.
You do some of that.
I do.
Yes. Tom will exhaust you.
Steve, it's middle income. You couldn't go there because you're high income.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't make it. Right? Is that what you were saying?
No.
So it's private pay.
It is private pay.
So it isn't like assisted living like Medicaid. It's
right.
And what's there? So do you have separate rooms and then they're like suites or what? Describe it for us.
Yes, we're on 15 acres of land.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, so when you pull in, you really think you're in the country,
Sure.
beautiful country setting, but we're 5 minutes from downtown Auburn, which is deceiving,
Right.
Because we're really, we got trees and woods, and it's beautiful. On the property, we have 16 houses, and then we have an apartment building all on one level that has 40 apartments in it. 1 bedroom,
Goodness.
2 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 2 bath apartments.
So people have their own cars. They have a shuttle. How does it work? How do people get around?
People can certainly drive their own cars, but we do have a van that takes people on a daily basis anywhere they need to go, shopping, doctor's appointments. Bass Pro. Planet Fitness.
The prison. Probably not the prison.
Well, not so much in prison anymore.
Well, let's hope not. Then you wouldn't need to live there. You could just live at the prison.
Yeah, John Kupperman Smith was here a couple sets ago. He was raving about the facility. He was out there and was saying how terrific and how clean it was. He was like, it was so clean. And
yeah, we pride ourselves in that.
Is that because you clean it yourself? Or
I did vacuum the other day. There must have been a party over the weekend. There were crumbs everywhere.
Now, how many staff members do you have over there?
I have 24 staff.
It's pretty big, yeah.
It is. It's a nice size to work with.
Do you often look for people to work there?
Yeah, we have turnover.
Sure.
We have employ a lot of like high school kids in the evening who are servers for the kitchen. So it's a nice job for kids in school. And we've had kids who start when they're 15 and they stay with us all the way till they, go off to college. So it's really nice.
Yeah. What did you do before this?
I've always been in senior living. So I was administrator before this. I've worked in lots of different places in the area and in Buffalo.
Okay. So what makes this facility different than some of the other ones that you've worked in?
This, I think, it's because we're independent living, we're not overseen by the Department of Health as far as them coming in and saying this resident needs to go to a higher level of care. Our residents can bring in any care that they need, if that's their choice to stay with us or to go to another level of care.
So I'm going to pause. So hang on. Joe Scripa forgot his glasses. Let's let him back in here and embarrass him that he forgot his glasses. So on the stream, let's see.
All right. I see.
Come on in, Joe. Get your glasses.
Joe, we're giving you another shot to be
Joe,
on the Radidio.
Yeah, so can you hand me those glasses? He's on the phone. He's on the phone. Okay, so these are just for live stream. Joe forgot his glasses.
The Scripa glasses.
So this is a fun show. So so why do people want to live there?
Well, I think sometimes it's the children who sign mom and dad up, put them on the waiting list, and then I call them and like, what waiting list? But usually it's someone who maybe is living alone in the community who wants that socialization. Mm-hmm. We've had younger people move in now who just don't want to have the burden of, coming home from work and mowing the lawn.
That's like Steve, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we did that. So I'm much younger than Tom, but we shifted to an apartment 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to have a home. We didn't want the maintenance, the yard, the snow, all of those things, right. And we're in apartments, mm-hmm. Right. And we like it, and it's maintained for us. They have a pool there. They have all the things that we would want, but we don't have to deal with them.
Exactly.
So it sounds like if I were old enough, I'd be a perfect fit, right, Tom?
Well, and now you say it starts. What does it start at 55?
Yes.
Okay, so
mm-hmm.
Steve's more than believe me.
Oh, come on, Tom, don't give it away.
He's a year and a half older than me.
Oh my God, I know I don't look it. Thanks for noticing.
It makes him seriously geriatric. But honestly, that alone, not having to worry about those things, allows you to live your life and have that freedom of not worrying about stuff. Do you take pets at all? Or?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so people can have a little dog and a cat.
Can they have a Great Dane, or is there like a size?
We had one lady who had a Doberman.
Oh, okay. Good golly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the average age, though? Because I know we say younger, but typically people, I like my home, you know what I mean? And some people will stay in their home for a while. What is the average age?
Average age is probably right now about 85.
Yeah, so that's when typically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Steve, you got a couple more years.
Well, there could be the youth group there, and it would be Judy and I will still have the youth group, and we'll say, come on, let's go. My mom is 90. She still lives independently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
because Steve doesn't take the time to go visit her.
I visit her. She lives at the house. I'm
His
there all
sister
the time.
does.
Okay, she might be there more often than I would, but it's the oldest sister. It's the oldest sibling's responsibility, right?
Right.
It is.
And your sister's.
I don't know if it's the law, but that's just kind of where it goes.
Funny.
It sounds lovely.
Yeah, it sounds like a wonderful place. Is it one of those places, because it's so nice, that you can't get in? Yeah, you have a waiting list?
It ebbs and flows. Right now, I do have a waiting list, but, things can change, sometimes overnight. So there is a waiting list right now. It's a long waiting list, but once I start going through it, people say, no, keep me on the list. I'm just not ready. So.
Or they've moved on and found someplace else, probably.
Yeah.
So BluefieldManor.com, that's where they can find the information?
Yes.
So BluefieldManor.com. 258-8575. I gotta slow that down. I said that right. Eric, 315, Tom. That's the big area code here.
Yes, it is.
258-8575, BluefieldManor.com.
Great. Cheryl Silvestrini. Love saying the name. Administrator over there. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. We'll have you back again.
Sounds
John
good.
Tomino's coming up. He's the co-founder of In My Father's Kitchen. He's going to bring a guest, and his name is Dr. David Lehman. He is the co-founder of House Calls for the Homeless. We'll see what they're doing in tandem together right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Hey, we're back again, and that means you are too on The Local Show with Tom and Steve from Zoey Advertising. Check out the YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe and bring us up in those algorithms. I don't know what it means, and we'll probably never be rich off it, but
I don't think
you can do it anyway.
We're not monetizing. We're just here for the fun and games, Tom.
But people can see things. They can see your enormousness.
They can see that you've lost 112 pounds.
Well, yes, the gym is going well. I do love it there. And I would say that anyone, the big equalizer to health and longevity is putting on massive amounts of muscle so that you don't get into sarcopenia.
Never experienced that, and I don't know what sarcopenia is.
Well, sarcopenia for you started at age 20.
Yeah, I don't think that was a compliment for my educated listeners. I don't think that was a good thing.
But you could turn that around by taking in more protein and coming to the gym.
I'll take the protein.
Yeah, absolutely. Some chocolate stuff.
I'm good with that. Chocolate protein. That's what I would say. Put some nuts in it, and now I got protein in there.
We've got some great guests right now, Steve, and maybe you could ask the doctor some questions too. John Tomino is here. He's the co-founder of In My Father's Kitchen with his guest, Dr. David Lehman, who is the co-founder of House Calls for the Homeless, right? Are you a co-founder? Or
Yes.
Okay. Oh, geez, we got to put on your mic,
put
too.
His mic on top. I would have remembered that.
Oh, sure you would have. Yeah,
Okay.
because we always have two guests, never. But, yeah, so, anyway, yeah, you can get closer to that microphone there. John, it's good to see you again.
Yes, guys. Good to see you.
Yeah.
I already pre-warned Doc about your banter.
The weirdness that ensues. Yeah. So, since we know a lot about John, and we know what he does.
And he's not that interesting.
No, that's not true. We know that you do outreach to the homeless, and you serve people food out there.
Yeah, and I met this wonderful man 6 years ago, Dr. Lehman. Now we're buddies, and he's going to tell you all about what he helps us
So,
do.
Doctor, are you from Syracuse originally?
No, St. Louis.
Okay. So, how long have you been in Syracuse?
1994.
Okay. That's quite a while. Still, yeah, not bad. Are you? Do you have a particular concentration, like
internal medicine and clinical pharmacology?
Gotcha. So, when you're not helping with In My Father's Kitchen, do you work out of a hospital or have your own practice?
I'm faculty at Upstate Medical University.
Oh, great. Do you? Is that SUNY? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Upstate.
Yeah.
Upstate. Okay.
Yeah. And internal medicine is isn't that like family medicine? Are they sort of in the same family?
So the difference is that internal medicine doctors will focus, have a focus on the pathophysiology, the pathology of the different organ systems and the interrelations with that. And we treat adults only. Family medicine doctors will have a broader expertise in kids and in family medicine.
Right.
And then traditionally internists would do hospital-based medicine. And
Gotcha.
Family medicine was more of an outpatient service.
So what made you want to hook up with John here?
Well, I was sitting in the emergency department. Actually, I was sitting on the 6th floor of Upstate Hospital, and I was admitting this guy that had been seen umpty-ump times previously for a variety of infection. I'm seeing him and admit him again for an infection. Blood infection to the hospital. He was going to be in for 6 weeks because he's going to get an IV line in and and they can't, And so I just got pissed off because of the issue. Patient, he would come in. He was coming in. He was getting go. He would leave with a prescription and go to see the doctor, and I'm seeing him again. Okay, so it came to mind what St. Augustine said. He had said that hope has two beautiful daughters. The first is anger at the way things are, and the second is courage to change them.
There you go.
And so I was pissed off already, so let's do something about it. Mm-hmm. So I said, to hell with this, and I decided to step away from my duties in the hospital, and then my patients became the people on the streets of Syracuse.
Wow. No so how long ago was this?
2018.
2018.
Yeah, so we had the audience.
Primarily doing
he needed to get out there, and we introduced him to the group, and now he's their primary care physician.
No kidding. So you're not even worried about going back to the hospital?
Well, I teach there. I mean, I still full time. I still am full time faculty.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I teach I teach primarily now pharmacy practice residents, medical students, and then I run the drug safety programs. I'm also a doctor of pharmacy in addition to being a doctor of medicine.
Very nice.
So I have that kind of background, and so I'm able to do the drug safety bit and keep that running in the hospital and help out with all things drug related at Upstate.
How do you keep track of medical records for folks that are maybe not identified properly?
Oh, they're identified 100%.
They are?
Yeah, 95% of these guys have insurance.
Okay.
And
really?
Yeah, people don't realize it. I didn't realize that at the first time.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to... So we started, through the foundation to try to get... And I thought, well, I'm going to use a lot of meds and a lot of free meds and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
They all have insurance. They don't have a doctor to prescribe the medicines for them.
Yeah. Oh. See, because everybody...
Because they don't make any money, so they are able to Medicaid eligible, and you can, boom, 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 get them on Medicaid through whatever resources, and that's not a problem. It's the link, and it's the health system square peg round hole thing that they don't fit into this thing, and they're they're regular people that need all kinds of health care, and so that's it.
What do you find on the streets? What kind of conditions?
So about 50% of the things I see, our median age of population, John would know better, probably 30s, I would think. And most
young.
most of these guys will have, injection drug use is a big problem. So 50% of what I do is skin stuff. I keep them out of the emergency department. I have a front-loaded go bag with free meds the free meds I do have are graciously donated by the hospital to us to give, and they're antibiotics and things.
Right.
I can get them started on the antibiotics as soon as I see an infection, and then I'll drain the abscess right on the van. We got a medical van that we have now.
Oh, wow.
And so I'll be able to drain the abscess and pack the abscess so that it doesn't separate, get into the hot, then they separate to go in the blood infection in the hospital, and then I got the other guy that took over for me is taking care of the guy for 6 weeks. So it's like,
Yeah.
So I'm able to do that right then. So half of it's going to be skin-related stuff. And the other half is just what everybody that has, blood pressures and diabetes.
Right. Is it an extraordinary challenge to have individuals finish their medicine? Antibiotic, okay, I got it here, but are they less likely to follow through? Or
No. Here's the thing, is that there's two issues that are different. The first issue is that if they're in the moment into their addiction, of which, everybody either has an addiction and or a psychiatric diagnosis. I would say 90 plus, high 98%.
Yeah. Some both?
Both. And both, 50%, somewhere around those ranges. Okay. So that, with the addiction, that'll keep them in the moment so much that they are saying, when I see them with a skin condition or something that you need antibiotics with, they'll say, do I go and get the thing at the drugstore, or do I, get more for my thing and do my thing? So you can abrogate that by having the meds with you on the time at the spot. So that's when I start the antibiotic. Okay. Here's your antibiotics for a week. Extraordinarily compliant. They have great compliance.
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
They're very good individuals. They're very appreciative. It's just a wonderful patient population for me. There are frustrations, obviously, that you have with folks that have those kinds of conditions, but as long as you work through them.
So what would be the goal, John, with Dr. Lehman? Is the goal to get these people, mainstreamed?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, the goal, first of all, is to give them dignity where they're at, right, in the middle of their brokenness. The goal for me as the outreach provider, now Doc's providing a medical component that was vastly needed, and it helps me go deeper with that person. So like when he touches them, they have to now all of a sudden sign documents for him to be treating them, so we capture information that we might have not have gotten. And then based on what he's doing with them, with the medical students, then it helps us then navigate them. Hey, we're with you now. How about getting into housing? How about trying to do this? How about trying to do that? So it opens up a door.
Very nice. And let me ask really quickly, because we're running low on time, but do you feel that when people get a little healthier, that maybe their mental status changes a little
100%.
bit?
Dignity is everything. I had a guy, one of my first patients, when I first started doing this, he had some boils on his butt.
Yeah.
I drained the boils. I gave him fresh underwear, and he said, oh my God, and he'd fall into my arms crying because nobody really helped him in that fresh way. So
that's wonderful. InMyFathersKitchen.org. I know you guys accept support, and you're out in the community saving lives.
Yeah.
And
we have a big fundraiser coming up April 11th.
Okay.
So please come. It's at the Palace Theater.
April 11th at the Palace Theater.
Yeah.
Information at InMyFathersKitchen.org.
And our social media sites as well.
Awesome.
Dr. Lehman, thank you for being here, and thank you for all that you do. And thank you, John, of course. We love you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Eric Schumacher. He's a commercial salesperson and an estimator at Onondaga Flooring. Stick around for that on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back at it, and you found the last bastion for local talk radio right here.
Last bastion. There is no other
real
bastion.
Good stuff.
Yeah, you've just become a platitude of yourself.
Sure. No, there's other people who do a decent job. We just don't know where they are. So
they're making way more money than us doing something somewhere far away.
They could be. Yeah, you never know. A lot of talent out there, and Steve and I really, it's not about our talent. It's about the company companies that we bring to the table. And there are a lot of small businesses around town, and there's probably going to be a lot more with this Micron thing happening, and ancillary businesses coming in to support what's happening.
It's coming. People say, they're not sure. It's coming.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we keep in contact with all the big players.
All the big players, and some of the small players.
And some of the small players, right. And they're all saying that things are moving in that direction. Just look at the roads, the widenings and the sound barriers and
all that stuff.
All that kind of thing. Well, hey, we've got a new guest on to the show. His name is Eric Schumacher, commercial sales and estimator at Onondaga Flooring. How are you doing, Eric?
I'm fine. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm going to give you 2.5 seconds to tell people all about yourself.
Okay. I'm a
time's up.
Born and bred Southerner. Moved up.
Southerner.
Moved up to Syracuse because somebody convinced me that it was beautiful to go to school here.
Right.
They didn't warn me about winters or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
where down south were you?
Virginia, just outside of D.C. So a slightly more populous area than
my sister lived in Leesburg for 15 years.
I grew up in McLean.
Oh yeah, McLean. I've been to McLean several times.
There's Leesburg, isn't it?
It's near Leesburg.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of close. It's just off the Beltway somewhere.
Right. Yeah. No, McLean, Virginia. Yeah. Great.
But I do enjoy the rush hour up here, which is nothing compared to a rush hour down there.
Good golly, yeah.
So it's I moved up here to go to college at SU and then fell in love and.
With the college?
No, with the girl, and then had a child, and that just kind of anchored me to the upstate area.
Yeah,
so
good for you.
Yeah.
So what's your business career? Tell us that a little bit.
So business-wise, I started in outside sales about 30 years ago under the tutelage of the owner of Stevens Office Interiors.
Gotcha.
That taught me a lot about going out and meeting with people rather than just calling them on the phone. I did telemarketing prior to that.
Yeah.
And I found I really enjoyed it. I was passionate about the product and the business that I worked for, and I really found that to be a niche that was comfortable.
Yeah.
It was in commercial office furniture.
Sure.
And then obviously COVID hit and kind of rejiggered a lot of my calculations. And one of the opportunities came up was that Onondaga Flooring was taken over and purchased by a company called Manco Distributors, which is a commercial flooring company that I had done business with for years. So it was just a perfect opportunity when Mark and I spoke. He's the owner of both entities.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
A little closer to my area.
Yeah. His intent was to grow Manco and into a commercial force, if you will, in the area here. And with the expansions that Micron's going to bring, as well as the fact that it really expanded my market to anything with over a roof over it became a target, which was a little different.
So Onondaga kind of has two heads. There's the commercial flooring, which is Manco, which is what you're involved in, carpeting, flooring, tile, anything that you step on, right?
Correct.
Including Tom, anything like that.
We do it on the floor.
Okay. And then the residential side, which people are probably well aware of over there in North Salina, has been there forever, right? And the Perry family owned that before.
Correct.
But the people there have worked there a long time, haven't they?
30 plus years in almost all cases. So they, when the transition from business occurred, one of the downsides is a lot of times you may lose some of your talent that you have, and that's part of who the company was. Mark was able to retain everybody. So he kept Onondaga Flooring as its own self-running entity. There's two businesses under the roof, although we work as one. So if somebody was to call in and reach me, I would direct them to the person who's best suited to handle their house needs.
Right.
And I handle any companies.
So as far as if you had to put a percentage on it, how much is residential versus commercial?
Well, they don't share with me all their numbers, but I'd say Onondaga Flooring is the dominant player right now of the two.
What a reputation they have.
Yeah, it's tough that they have been in the community for 50 plus years, and they really have reached into people's homes and into their lives in a different way than perhaps a commercial entity does. Manco was a kind of a sleepy little company that, had its niche. Yeah. And, it's a joint vision to kind of expand that out. So
why would I come to you guys, Onondaga Flooring, as opposed to going to the big box store and getting my flooring?
It's the service. It's all about service. The products, in some cases, you could potentially source through one of those. But you're going to go into one of those big box stores, look at a big rack of pieces up there and have somebody who's been given maybe a few hours of training on this, and they're going to be your guidance person versus somebody who's done it for 30 years. They've stubbed their toe a few times. They've learned how not to stub it again. And that's the kind of thing that you want to have in your home. At least you don't want to be there for 3 days for something to take a day.
Are prices comparable? Is it a misnomer to think that you can't go down Onondaga Flooring and get the same kind of pricing you would get at a big box store?
It is a misnomer. You have to level the playing field. You'll get from the big box stores a budget number that won't include a number of things, whereas we go in and give the whole shebang. We'll go out to the site before we even quote a number and look at the site conditions to make sure that we've covered everything.
Before a do-it-yourselfer, would you be comparable? Like if I said, hey, I'd like this luxury vinyl tile, I'm going to do it myself, this plank flooring, could you match what I would pay over at the other place?
We do.
Yeah.
If you do a cash and carry, we'll try and equal the price that you were looking at, if it's something that we have.
But you're getting the advice. My dad was a carpenter. He went to Onondaga.
Right.
Okay, he could have gone anywhere, but he had built a relationship with the folks there. That's where the Roberts family got the carpet. There was you drove by all the other places because these are the people that kind of knew what they were doing. They did know what they were doing, and you felt like it was more of a consultancy than it was a sale.
Yeah, that's really a bit more of a. We call them design consultants. They're not sales. They're really there to see your space, understand how you want things to look, and show you different ideas that you might have not walked in with.
Yeah.
Our showroom is cavernous, so it's just filled with carpet samples.
Right, and so in your commercial world, so if a building or a business, I was in a unnamed restaurant back a few weeks ago. I looked at their floor. I'm like, oh, that floor is nasty. You couldn't clean it. You would go in and go, okay, here's what it takes. Here's the specs. Right. Here's the size. Here's a couple recommendations because that's high traffic through it. That's your world. Is
Correct.
that fair?
Yep, that's an accurate statement. Yeah.
Okay, and so how you get some leads? So can people get a hold of you through the 350-3514 if they call the Onondaga number? Is that the right number?
Yep, that gets through to me.
Okay, so if you have maybe it's like how much would it cost to XYZ? They could get it at they get a hold of Eric at 350-3514, and of course OnondagaFlooring.com. But so your side's the commercial side, their side is the shag carpet. Did you ever have? I had a shag carpet with a rake when I was a kid. Do they still make that?
They still have a few of those.
Do they? It came with a rake.
Do you feel people are doing more hardwoods or not hardwoods, but luxury vinyl tile as opposed to carpeting?
Yeah, the LVT has come in. It's it's easier to clean for people. Now in the commercial world, it's broadloom is not in. It's carpet tiles and LVT planks. So you can spill your coffee over there and pull up a tile and replace it. So it's a little bit more end user friendly from that perspective.
Yeah.
As a person who's done some of those DIY things in my house, I've sat there and looked down and in a few places, and I've gone, wow, that really wasn't as neat as it should have been. When you see how things are supposed to be, that's when you see how I could have done this better.
Gotcha.
So you get the advice from the big box stores of like, this is what you need, but it's not spot on.
Gotcha. Well, that's Eric Schubacher right there. You can have a conversation with him. OnondagaFlooring.com. Check out the website too and see all the different products. Eric, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That's going to wrap things up. Steve, you are cut loose and foot loose and fancy free. You ready? You can get ready for your next vacation.
Yes, I'm working on it, Tom. I'm working on it.
Outside thing. All right. On the local show, on behalf of the local show and Tom and Steve, God bless you and your families. Make some time to get some exercise today, and most importantly, relax today and every day. Do it with a family member, and it'll keep your mind and body healthy. The local show is heard every Saturday morning from 11 to 1, and then again on Sunday morning from 7 to 9. Listen together with a friend. Until next week, get down to business and keep doing business locally. Tell your friends about the local show right here on 570 WSYR 106.9 FM, the iHeartRadio app, and on YouTube at ZoeyAdvertising.com. No, just Zoey Advertising.